Greetings, salutations, respect, and love. I am Scott. You are in the Prog Corner, and today we are going to be celebrating 1975. Can you believe it? It was 50 years ago, man. And for me, 1975 is what I like to call year zero, right? Something funny happens when you turn 13, right? I really believe something triggers in your brain at that particular age that you're able to hear and appreciate music in a different way that you weren't able to when you were younger. Now, I've always loved music. I grew up in a very musical household. My dad was a jazz musician, so I grew up hearing John Coltrane and Miles Davis and Dave Brubeck on a daily basis. But he was also into Zappa and the Stones and the Beatles. So that's what I grew up listening to when I was a little kid. We're talking about 1975, though, man. I was 12 when the year began, and I was listening to pop. I was listening to my top 40 radio. I loved AM Gold, late 60s, early 70s. Man, so much great stuff on the pop charts. Absolutely fantastic. But things started changing, right? In 74, going into 75, all of a sudden you're getting all kinds of disco. Right? I mean, I'm looking at the charts in 1975, and I'm seeing a whole bunch of The Hustle and Casey and the Sunshine Band and Fly, Robin Fly. The year actually started out all right with Elton John's version of Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds. The last number one song in 1975 was the Staple Singers' Let's Do It Again. Terrible song by Curtis Mayfield. One of those songs that hit number one that nobody, I don't even remember that song, let alone the movie with Jimmy Walker and Sidney Poitier. That sounds like a hard no for me. But 75, I am going to be ranking the best prog albums of 1975 later on, probably next week. The two big records that rockers were all into, Pink Floyd, Wish You Were Here came out in 75. Led Zeppelin's Physical Graffiti came out in 75. But I remember as a kid hearing, Jefferson Starship Red Octopus being played in my sister's bedroom nonstop. But there was a single that popped up early in 75 that really got my ears going. It was by a UK band called Queen, and the song was Killer Queen, and I really loved it, even though it came out in 74. The single started getting traction early 75, and I dug it, man. That was my favorite song for quite a while. And then later on in the year, they dropped an even better song that completely blew me away. Because when I heard Bohemian Rhapsody for the first time, I stopped everything I was doing, man. It was like a life-changing event for me. I called the radio station. I'm like, I should have known it was Queen because I knew Killer Queen. But, they said, it's Queen off this new album coming out called Night at the Opera. Just amazing. So all this was going on, and in the meantime from all this, from the primordial ooze of my parents' tastes and my older brother and my older sister and stuff, there came a band that I fell in love with, the first band that I considered my own, and that was Chicago, with Chicago Transit Authority, Chicago 2, Chicago 3, the live album, then 5, then 6, then 7. I was so into them, and then 1975 rolls around, and we get Chicago 8. So the combined impact of my AM radio, all the good songs disappearing and nothing but disco getting played. And then my beloved Chicago started going in a direction I didn't love, even though I love Old Days and Harry Truman. Those two songs are amazing and worth the price of admission. Just for those two songs alone, Chicago 8's worth having. But yeah, you could definitely see the handwriting was on the wall. So what was I going to do, man? Chicago was letting me down. AM Gold was changing into disco hits, left and right. Then I heard Killer Queen, and I started thinking, well, maybe there's hope. Later on in the year, like I said, Bohemian Rhapsody hit, and that blew my mind, absolutely. But the thing that really got the whole ball rolling was in the fall of 75. My older brother went away to college, and he came back on winter break from Marquette University with a cassette tape in his hand. And I've told this story before, but it's absolutely true. The one event that changed my life, probably more than anything else, was my brother coming home with that Memorex 90 with Fragile on one side and Tarkus on the other. And my life was changed because, he was, dealing with people from all over the world and all their tastes. The next thing I know, he's bringing all these cool records home. But the first thing I really sunk my teeth into was that cassette right there. And yeah, that did change everything for me. Absolutely. That was like late 75. So as soon as I heard that, I went back and got all the Yes albums. Chris Squire's Fish Out of Water had just come out. The next year, I would get Elias of Sunhilla, which is my first prog purchase in real time, like getting it on release day. And then I move on to a boat, have to sell all my vinyl, my first vinyl collection gone. And 77 rolls around, and I got to buy everything on cassettes, man. So in 77, I bought Going for the One and The Grand Illusion and Point of No Return, Farewell to Kings, all that stuff on cassette. And it really felt like that was kind of like the end of the road right there. Things were changing so much. By 75, man, King Crimson was gone. ELP was on a break. Yes was on a break doing the solo albums thing. There just wasn't a whole lot going on there to get people excited outside of Wish You Were Here, I guess. But I am going to be ranking the best albums in 1975. I just wanted to talk a little bit about how 1975 was the year that I became sentient, right? Musically sentient. I became an actual thinking, feeling, self-aware musician that day when I heard Steve Howe ripping off, that intro to Roundabout. That was it. It was a wrap. It was game over. And like I said, by 1978, with Tormato and Love Beach, it was a short run, man, because I discovered prog in 75, and by 78, I was kind of getting turned off by it. But, fast forward to 2000, and we're back into the prog again in a big time kind of way, because prog is, in fact, the best kind of music that was ever recorded. They got confused about that for a little while, and 75 not only was the year that I turned 13, and that's where everything starts changing musically in your brain. I think about it, from the time that I first heard Yes in 75, it would only be like 6 months later that I would be seeing them in concert on the solo albums tour. And so it didn't take long for my fandom to go from 0 to 60 at all. But 1975 changed everything for me. And if you look at the music industry, it was changing already. To something maybe not quite as nice. But next week we are going to be ranking the best prog albums in 1975. Some really, really good ones, man. So that's going to be a great episode. This Sunday, the Sunday live prog stream, your Sunday service. Oh, it's going to be a good one, man. 11 a.m. Eastern. We're going to be talking about, what are we talking about this Sunday? Oh, it's a good one, man. We're going to be talking about what? The best albums of 1975. Why not, man? 50 years ago, I got my panel in place, and we're going to be talking about all the great records that came out that year, and that's going to be a lot of fun with an all-star cast. Anyway, I love you guys. Peace in the Middle East. Chef's kiss. Peace in the Middle East. Free Tibet, and then free Ukraine. And then guess what we're going to do, boys and girls? Guess what? Yeah, we're going to dance with some snakes. Why not? It's snake dance. Oh, we're going to dance with them snakes. Dancing with them rattlesnakes. Oh, yeah, that's what we do in the prog corner. Anyway, boys and girls, I love you. I'll see you tomorrow, probably. Peace.